TBR. I'm Chris, and this is my books I'm going to read for the next 6 months. Probably going to be reading these in July. I have Pierce Brown, Golden Sun, and Morning Star. And I also have Katharine Kerr, A Time of Exile. I read Red Rising a couple of months ago. I enjoyed aspects of it, didn't love it, but there was enough for me to like there to give more of the series a try. So I'm going to try to get through Golden Sun and Morning Star in the next couple of weeks and see what happens. I do hope the series picks up a bit from the first book. I wasn't a particular fan of the gamey aspects of the first book, and I don't know what to expect from this. I haven't really read the blurb, I've just picked up the book. But it's definitely going to be the next book I read. After that, it's going to be A Time of Exile by Katharine Kerr. This is book 5 in Devery. It is the start of the second sub-series. So the first series is called I think it's just Devery, and the second is, I think it's called the Westlands. I don't believe it says anywhere on the cover here, but I believe it's called the Westlands, and it follows along, I think, set maybe a couple of decades after the first series. Unfortunately, if I was to say too much about this series, about the book, because I know when it's sort of set, it would kind of ruin aspects of the first series. So I'm just going to give a quick overview of the first series instead. Devery is pretty medieval fantasy. It deals a lot with reincarnation, which is not my usual cup of tea, but I really enjoy the way Katharine Kerr was able to interweave the past sequences and past lives of the characters into the overall narrative. Honestly, like, a lot of the flashback sequences were my favourite part of the original 4 books. The final book, Dragon Song, really ended well, so I believe I'm gonna really enjoy going through the second series, and I have all of those planned for the rest of the year, so I'm not gonna, when I get to them into my reading list, I'm not gonna go too deep into them. So yeah, that's probably my July plans. 2 Pierce Brown books, 1 Katharine Kerr. Probably in August, I'm going to get to this next lot. I don't know how long these are actually going to take, because these are a little bit bigger. And that's mostly because I'm going to start with this omnibus edition of Glen Cook's Dread Empire. This is the original trilogy in this book. I know almost nothing about this series. I've read the blurb, but it almost feels like a fever dream, so I have no idea what to expect. I'm hoping to enjoy it. I'm a huge fan of the Black Company, and I've enjoyed how he writes in the past. I plan to read the second book in the Westlands, A Time of Omens, just making sure that's the correct one, which I'm expecting to enjoy. I'm not reading the back of that one. Following both those two, and this is probably deep into September now because I do typically read slow, the second Dread Empire volume. This one is a prequel to the original trilogy, as far as I'm aware. But that is about all I know. I don't have any information, and I'm not I think I'm trying to just avoid spoilers because I don't know anything about that series. So I'm expecting it to be around late September, October maybe when I get to this next lot. Branching out to a few new authors that I have not read before. I have some Becky Chambers and some John Gwynne, as well as the final 2 volumes of the Westlands saga. I think I know almost less about this than I do Dread Empire. But it sounds like a crew on a spaceship. You know, they've all got their secrets and history and maybe stuff they're running from or something. This is the long way to a small angry planet. Originally, I thought when I saw this it was a duology, but apparently it's 4 books. I'm hoping to enjoy it. It sounds like a lot of those TV shows I used to enjoy growing up, so... But I'm going to give Malice a shot. I know, again, almost nothing about this one. I barely read the back cover, but I do know that a lot of people on YouTube have praise for John Gwynne, so I'm curious. I'm going to give it a shot, see what happens. Do want to find a few new authors, and a lot of the other stuff that I've read this year has been authors that I've kind of read before to a certain degree, or authors that I have already read 3 to 4 books in a series from them. So yeah, so having a few new authors is pretty exciting. So that kind of concludes what I have planned to read. I like to mix planning and mood reading. So if I go off on a tangent or want to read 2 books back to back, I will do that. Those are about the 10 books that I have planned at the moment. But if I get through all of those, I have a list of novels that I may read. All of these books are kind of big though. So I'm expecting to get through 1, maybe 2 of them, because I read fairly slowly. And I think this is maybe a little bit unlikely that I get to it this year, even if I kind of want to. Is a reread of Steven Erikson's Reaper's Gale. Now, I have a bookmark in here from, oh boy, like 3 or 4 years ago. I think there was a period where I just stopped reading, and this was one of 2 books that I just did not get back to. I really do like the second half of the novel, so not getting back into it and getting to that part was a bit sad, but maybe I'll get to it sometime before the end of the year. Malice and Interest are currently residing with C Esslemont. So I read Return of the Crimson Guard back in May, finishing last month. Next up on the list is Stonewielder. I'm really looking forward to this, but I don't want to push it ahead in front of books that I haven't read yet. So it's on a bit of the back burner. I'm expecting to maybe read this one in November or something. Finally, on the first stack of potentials is Lonesome Dove. I've had this book sitting on my shelf since December. This is probably looking like a 2025 read, unfortunately. It's too big at the moment, but it could call to me. That's why it's on this list, and I always have it sitting out just in case. Alright. That is the more likely 3. So I talked about Dread Empire earlier, but I also have the sequel trilogy. I may be a little bit burnt out after 5 novels set within this realm. I am expecting just to pick these up next year. Even though the first two volumes are not particularly long, like this is less than 250 pages, I don't think I'm getting to them this year. And I'm not too concerned with that. Finally, I have the extremely unlikelies. I am reading Best Served Cold right now, and I do want to continue along with the standalones before getting to Age of Madness, which I've not read yet, but I want to complete a reread of the original 6 novels first. And I'm doing Best Served Cold right now, but after that, I have the Heroes to look forward to. That one actually may happen this year, depending on how I feel. These next couple are a bit out there in terms of actually a possibility. I have been hearing or feeling a lot more positive towards A Song of Ice and Fire lately, to the point where I have interest in rereading the series for the first time since Dance of Dragons came out. It's a very different feeling. I don't know what my family did to this, but there's like rips all in it. There's like pages are all messed up. I don't know what my family did. And finally, this one is so absurd that it should not happen, because it would be a fourth reread or fourth read, and that's Gardens of the Moon. Ever since finishing Return of the Crimson Guard and seeing a few discussions online, Gardens of the Moon reread has been on my mind. It has been so close to me to actually just pick up this novel and read it, but you can't just keep rereading, especially when your list is so big. I don't particularly wish to reread Gardens of the Moon right now, but maybe I'll try and finish a few others. But yeah, that's my TBR list. Thank you for watching if you've made it this far. Have a good one, bye. A few new authors is